Hi, so in this video, we are going to do the stretching for your adductors and abductors. So how do we do that? First, let's see the hip flexors stretch. Okay, so for this, you'll have to kneel on your one knee, right? Whereas the other leg comes forward. So make sure that your ankle and your knee is in a perpendicular line and it is a straight line. Okay, so now before we do the stretch, you will have to tilt your pelvis forward. So imagine that, your pelvis is like a bucket, right? So instead of the bucket tilting forward, we wanted to tilt it backwards. Okay. So you're going to do this tilt of the pelvis, right? So once you secure your pelvis in that tilted position, you're just going to keep pushing your knee forward, right? So you'll feel a good stretch on your hip flexors. Okay. So keep on driving that knee forward, but ensure that your heel does not lift off, right? And you can just hold that for around 10 seconds. Okay. If you feel that you have very tight hip flexors, you can repeat another set, right? So it depends like how good you feel around your hip flexors. Okay. If you feel that, that one stretch was 10 seconds of stretch is good enough, then it's good. If you feel your hip flexors have not opened up properly, then you can go for another set. Okay. So likewise, we do for the other side. Okay. So knee and your ankle in a straight line. Okay. Tilting your pelvis, right? And then just keep pushing your knee forward, right? Get a stretch and hold it for around 10 seconds and come back. Okay, so that was for your flexors. Now we're going to focus on the adductors, which is the inner thigh. Okay, so for this, we are going to do a stretch called the frog stretch because it looks like as if like a frog is lying down on the floor. Okay, so for this, you'll have to, so if you're using a mat, okay, you have to get your knee on the outside edge of the mat, right? Both the knees, right? And the toes have to be externally rotated. Can you see right now the toes towards the screen and my other toes towards the wall? Okay. And after that, you get onto your elbows, right? Make sure you're not rounding up the back, but your back is in neutral position, just like a table, right? And then in this position, you're just going to pull back, right? You're going to get a good stretch around your inner thighs, around your adductors, and you're just going to hold it for 10 seconds and then come up. So again, if you feel the adductors are still tight, you can go for another set of 10 seconds and come back. Okay, so just to show you how it looks like, okay, I'm going to do it facing the camera. Okay, so again, my knees goes out, right? My toes are externally rotated. Again, my knee and my ankle are in a straight line. Okay, get on to my elbows, right? I'm making sure that my spine is neutral, and then I just go back, pushing my hips backwards, right, till I get a good stretch around my adductors, that is your inner thighs. Okay, and come back up. Okay, so that's about the frog stretch. Okay, next we are going to do a drill, a mobility drill. So right now we were doing all the static holds. So next we are going to do something that is more like a dynamic stretch where we are moving. Okay, so we are not holding a particular position, but we are moving. Okay, so this particular exercise or the mobility drill is known as hip 90-90. Okay, so for this you'll have to sit, with your hands behind you, just behind you, not that it's too far away, right? Because it will create a lot of stress around your shoulders. So keep it just next to your hips, right? And your feet has to come closer to your hips, right? And the distance between the two feet has to be wide enough such that when we are doing the movement, your knee is not colliding on the top of the other foot. Okay. So if it is very narrow, you will be, your knee will not be able to touch the ground. It will be colliding on your foot. So that's why it has to be wide enough so that you have enough space for your knee to touch the floor. Okay, right? So your hands just behind you, your chest out and proud, not caving in of the chest. Then your feet closer to your hips, wide enough, right? Looking straight. and then we are going for the movement. So we are just going to flip left and right. So when we are doing this, you are causing the internal rotation of one hip, whereas the external rotation of the other hip simultaneously. Okay. Yeah. So if you want to see how it looks from the front, okay. So again, on your heels, toes up, 1. So if you see, I'm just facing forward, right? I'm not turning to the side. People who have a lot of restrictions around the hips, they may not be able to look forward. They might have to, like, lift off their hand, but that's completely fine. With time, you'll be able to, do it without lifting off your hands. Okay, so that's hip 90-90 for you. Now, next, the last drill that we are going to do is a squat hold. Okay, so when you do a squat hold, you can take a dumbbell or a kettlebell of minimum weight. Okay, so as we do the squats, this in the similar way we are going to do, but it's just that we are going to hold at the bottom position. Okay, so I'm standing with my hip width apart, right, and my toes slightly rotated externally, right, my chest out and proud. Now just open up my knees and keep sitting down, right? And now with my elbows, I'm trying to push the knees out further. That will help in opening up my adductors, okay? Opening up my hips, okay? So if you want to, focus on the right side, I can just keep on shifting the weight towards my right knee, but make sure that you are not lifting the heel. The heel is completely planted on the ground. Again, I can focus on the left adductors by shifting the weight towards my left knee. Okay, so if you see from the sides, okay, go down and hold. Okay, if you see, the spine is neutral, no rounding up of the back, right? No butt winking, right? Maintaining that neutral spine. Just hold it for a count of 5 and then come back up. Okay, so that's squat stretch.